Hello and welcome to Bookish, the author's part of the In the Limelight network. I'm your host, Nyssa Couto, and joining me today is Melissa Gabriel to talk about her book, Beyond Miracle, Beyond the Grave, A Medium's True Experiences. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me. So let's jump right in. What is your book about?
So it's 25 short stories that are different experiences that I've had as a medium. And it starts off with my miracle healing, which my liver had failed and the doctors didn't expect me to survive the next 24 hours. And, they sent me to Boston, and during the night in Boston, I'd feel this heat go across my body. Like all of a sudden I'm laying in the bright sun. And I thought as a medium that they're just preparing to take me to the other side. And what I found out was in the morning, the doctors came in and said, your numbers are coming back. So my liver went from it's dead, not functioning at all, and completely yellow, expecting to die. And then here I am 4 days later, I'm home like it never happened. And the doctors can't even begin to explain it. He said when I went back for my 4-week follow-up, he said, sometimes in the medical field, there are things that happen that are hard to explain, but at least we have a general idea of how the body works. He said, but your liver was dead, not functioning at all. And it started to function and heal itself. And I can't even begin to explain that.
Wow.
So
I guess it wasn't your time to go, was it?
No, I guess not. Or on a soul level, I decided that I agreed to stay and do this type of work. I had started doing readings probably about a year before this happened. So I think because they know it's my true intent to help people with disability, that I think they decided to keep me around and help create other mediums and help bring peace and, help those people that are grieving, especially.
Yeah. So who should read this book? People who are interested in mediumship, or is it for everyone?
I think it's for everyone, because there's some fascinating stories. I've lived a kind of a crazy life. So the miracle healing story is the first story, but then there's 2 other stories that defy logic. Like I should not still be here. One of them being a airplane flight to Boston. And on the way back, I felt like something was wrong. And we get back and find out, my friend had called me the next day and he said, I am so glad you and your angels were with us, because apparently a magneto had exploded in the engine. It at about 600 feet up in Boston. And my friend kept an eye on all the airports going back, thinking we're going to have to make an emergency landing. And when the mechanic looked at it, he said, there's no way this plane made it from Boston to Bangor, Maine. There's no way. It's impossible. It could not have happened. And so, that's just another one of the stories. And then there's other stories about what I witnessed as friends and family were passing, which I think will bring comfort to those that are grieving. Because, as sad as it is to lose someone you love, there's also this beauty in seeing them go to this beautiful place and be released from any physical pain. And then just some very interesting readings that I've done that were very profound for me. So it's 25 quick stories, and I've had people say they read it in a day, they couldn't put it down. So
but these stories do sound amazing, right? They're like I said, they're miracles. But it's also why we like reading books, why we love the idea of believing in magic or miracles or other something else, because we want to believe that something can happen aside from that people can be saved or whatever. It's nice to hear that. And speaking to your about the knowing that someone on the other side, my dad passed away a few years ago, and I saw him pass away, and it was as if she just went to sleep. So it was very interesting. But it's and I also spoken to a medium, and I got to speak to him. And it was very touching. And apparently the person said that my dad is the only spirit who's ever asked her how she's doing. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I've had spirits thank me before and tell me they appreciate what I do, but that's I've never had that. So that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, that sounds about right. That he'd ask her how she's doing. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that sounds like her dad. It sounds like something he'd do that's not normal of everyone else.
Oh, that's awesome. No, it sounds like he had a great heart.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
And
that's beautiful.
thank you. I mean, it was just it's this funny story, but it's love that it's very. I felt very much like I was speaking to someone who like confirmed that it was him when I heard that. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But what does being a medium mean to you?
To me, I am the conduit or the link between
Mhm.
the spirit world and the physical.
Yeah.
So when I connect with spirits, is to bring those loved ones, the guides, angels through to give information for whatever the person, the client
Mhm.
needs. I always set this intention. I ask the archangels to clear my energy, and I ask that I receive information for their highest and best. So you never know who is going to come through for spirit if they've got a lot of loved ones. Sometimes they're lined up and, I'll get 4 or 5 people in a 30-minute reading. And other times one person comes through and that's the one that they need to connect with. And we spend the whole time with that one
Yeah.
soul, if you will.
Yeah. So this is because I think, we always have this idea of what a mediumship is because we see TV shows, we see this, but what is the biggest maybe surprise that people get when they speak to you, when they've created this idea of what a medium is, and then they meet you and they sit with you? What is the thing that maybe someone's like, oh, this is not what I expected?
I
Have
think
you
one
had
of
those
the,
moments?
yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things are, I guess people are surprised to find out that I'm just kind of normal, average, everyday kind of person. And, I don't know what they create in their head for like a vision of me, but they're like, oh, you're not what I expected.
Yeah.
And I think, sometimes being able to give them that like proof beyond all reasonable doubt sometimes, especially if they're skeptical or especially if they're really grieving, that's when I get the most evidential messages that come through. And I've had people say, I don't believe in this sort of thing, and then I've changed their mind by the end of
Yeah.
it. There's no
Yeah.
way for you to know this, there's no way for you to have
Yeah.
known that. So
Yeah.
I think that's, and I think sometimes people have this expectation that we're going to say something bad, like, oh, you need to watch out, somebody's going to die, or you're going to get sick, or, and I don't get things like that unless it can be prevented.
Yeah.
And so I try to reassure people when I could feel that they're nervous.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you anything bad. They're not going to tell me anything that's embarrassing to you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be the conduit to connect you with your loved one
Yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah. Do you ever have people come in and they're afraid that maybe of like evil spirits or something's gonna come in? Because I've been told that usually that dark feeling you feel is your fear of what's or misinterpretation of a message, because you're trying to, because I've, like, for example, I have recently tried write journaling and I just start scribbling for no reason. And I'm like, it's someone trying, I guess it's a spirit guide trying to help me explain something to me, but I haven't yet connected with how they want to respond. So it just comes out as scribbles because I haven't found that connection to, like when you're learning or someone's teaching you something, you haven't found that groove, like, oh, now I understand you. But
Right.
I had to tell them, please calm down. I don't understand you yet. I haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
But it was a crazy moment. But it's like, I think that's
Yeah.
what people get fear of, like, oh, I don't want to do this because it might be a bad spirit coming in or something.
Right. Because I really think the fear of the unknown, is a real thing. And then, I think your imagination takes you to that worst case scenario rather than just assuming that everything is going to be good and being an optimist like I am. But there are lower vibrational energies that can come through. But I have trained myself to protect with the angels and the white light before I do any sort of work like this. And also, I believe my vibration is so high and it's so protected that I won't see anything negative unless I need to address something, like if I'm clearing a house or something like that. But there have been stories of a local, well, somebody that is in a famous town in Maine, that will tell people you have an attachment and you need to come back 15 times at $75 or $100 a pop to get rid of this. And, we'll say all these bad things, which, if you go to see a medium and they give you negative information like that and expect you to continue to come back to pay for it to fix it, that's not of light and love. And that's not the medium that you should be consulting with.
That is someone who's basically driving their business through fear and holding you there instead of being like a guide and helping you get to where it is that you need to go, or whatever the message is that you need to hear. Right?
Because all the readings that I do, getting your loved ones and your guides come through, it's all very positive, very loving, very encouraging. Even though they might say, there's a bump in the road, prepare yourself for this. But as soon as you're through that, things get so much better, and there's this light and love, so it's always about, all right, life does have difficult moments, but there's a rainbow at the end of it. It's beautiful once you get through that. You've learned your lesson, and you've become stronger, and now you've allowed room for good things to come to you.
Yeah, I also feel that sometimes I always write my gratitude journal that I'm grateful for all the challenges, because you don't see it now, but then you look at it later on and go, oh, that's why that happened. Sometimes you just have to accept the fact that these roadblocks or speed bumps are there for a reason, either to stop you because it's not the right, telling you don't go that direction, or it's preventing you. Because if you look at it, there's always a reason behind why something didn't work out. And it could be simply you didn't want that, or you weren't ready for that, or you didn't really want that thing, but you thought you did. And it was something telling you, no, this is not for you. It's okay. Come this way.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that 100%, because, we have our guides that lead us through things. And as we go through our difficult challenges, I believe we grow understanding and compassion for other people that have been there. And we also realize our own strength. And I do believe when we get to the other side, our vibration goes higher because, we've learned that, we've experienced it, we've done that.
Yeah.
Check that off our list of schooling that we need to accomplish, and we move higher on a higher vibrational frequency.
So what do you hope people will, how do you hope your book will help people? Like, what do you want them to, what's the takeaway that you want them to have from this book?
I want them to, if they're non-believers, I want them to question that. I think no matter what faith you have, it's great to have faith. And sometimes people need that faith renewed, or need to question, that there is more than what we can see, hear, feel, and touch on this earth plane. So I think my biggest hope is that people find that inner peace that I had, or restore their faith, or if they're grieving, find that comfort that, their loved one is in a good place. And, a lot of times the transition process, as the body's, finishing its process, it looks horrible. And sometimes people wonder about the soul suffering, and that's not the case. They're kind of in and out during that. So it's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. So you want people to have question what maybe their skepticism, or have hope that there's something else out there.
Right. I mean, you can't, if you read my stories, especially the ones where I probably shouldn't be here to continue to tell these stories, there's something there, there's some divine happening, and there's no denying it, because doctors can't explain it, or the mechanic said that was impossible, or it just defies logic.
The experts are saying it, right? If the experts are saying, well, there's no way that you could have come back from this, or that engine should have worked, and they're the ones who are trained to be able to notice these things, right? Or the ones we trust to be able to tell us. So
Absolutely.
So where can people find your book, or you?
Yep. Angelconnection11.com is my website, and you can find the book. There's some links to the book from there, and to our podcast and things like that. But it's also on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and pretty much anywhere you can buy books.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere you can look for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Thank you, Melissa. It was so lovely meeting you. Thank you for joining me today and having you on the show. I wish you continued success. And thank you, everyone, for joining me, and see you next time on Bookish Meet the Authors. Bye-bye for now.